Thanks everyone for joining. I'm just going to jump into it. Hope you're all having a great weekend. My name is Mark with Summit Alliance. I'm going to just go over 21 appointment setting tips. You probably know some of these, but just as a refresher, and for those that don't, I'm of course going to send this out as a recorded video from YouTube. Check out our YouTube page. Just type in Summit Alliance Advantage, and you can check out all of our videos on there and subscribe and get notified to whenever we post some new ones. And also, I post them on Facebook. So if you're not on there, just look us up at Summit Alliance Advantage. I've got a group trying to get built up as well for agents to be able to kind of talk to each other, share some tips, things like that. So be sure to join in on that as well. So to get started here, just appointment setting tips. So this is going to be mainly for just being on the phone and trying to set those appointments for leads or other sources, anybody that may be a referral, things like that. So introduction is key. After the initial hello, you want to go to the who you are, what you do, why you're calling, as quickly but as sensibly as possible. You don't want to just rush into it. And I'll get to that in another slide. So who you are and what you do, just a brief overview, why you're calling. So my name is Mark, a local licensed life insurance agent. I'm calling to set a time with you to meet for your free consultation. So that's for a lead. You can go into what you do. I represent multiple companies, like, you could throw a couple companies in there if you want. If you don't have to, it's just a guide. And I'm glad to be of assistance. Thank you for taking the time to speak with me, something like that. And then I'll go into the East-West, but I have today at 4:45 or 5:15 available to you. What will work for you best? If there's hesitation, objections, go back into why you're calling. They might have forgot, oh yeah, my granddaughter put that information in the computer. I was trying to get a quote, something like that. You got to reiterate that if you're having a hesitation, or somebody's like, oh no, I don't have time to talk to you. Well, just call them because you put your information in, so that's why I'm calling. Wanted to see what just go right back into it. Tell them why the appointment's needed. If it makes sense and it's reasonable, they'll most likely do it. So you're trying to meet with them for the consultation, go over their options, tailor a plan to them, etc. Don't oversell the product on the phone. You're not trying to get unless you're doing phone sales, you're not trying to sell the product over the phone. You're trying to set an appointment. If they start asking you a bunch of questions, you need to kind of get back onto your topic, because if they start asking a lot of questions, they might just want to get off the phone right away. Oh, who do you represent? Oh, no, I don't like them. And they hang up. I've heard that. I've literally heard somebody say, well, I represent companies like, and the first one you say, oh, no, I don't like them, and they hang up because they don't want to talk. If you feel them slipping away, ask questions. What got you interested? What happened in your life recently that got you interested? How many grandkids you have? Something like that. Ask if they've done a needs analysis. They most likely have it. If they say, yeah, I need $10,000. Oh, great. That's fantastic. Most of my clients don't even have that idea, but, I want to go over what that $10,000 gives you. So what time, would 4:15 and 5:15 work better for you? Don't simply suggest the insurance, how it works for them. Don't try to pitch them on that, but tell them why they should agree to set the appointment. An accurate quote, again, that needs analysis. Maybe 10,000 is too much. Maybe it's not enough. Know what you're going to say before you say it. Very, very, very important. Product knowledge. So you don't want to get it roped into answering a bunch of questions, but you may have to answer some questions. The more product knowledge you have, the more credible you're going to sound. That's just going to help you get in the door. Make sure you have a script. Make sure it sounds like you. Do some practice calls with friends and family. Make sure you're practicing it. So this is just an acronym AIM. There's a couple of acronyms out there to overcome an objection, like isolate the objection. So acknowledge, ignore, and move on. This is one where you're going to use for just people kind of giving you an excuse objection. Listen to what they say when appropriate. Oh, I understand. Like, hey, oh no, I can't meet today. I'm going to work. Okay, I understand. I have a time available tomorrow, or what time do you get off of work tonight? Or in the morning if you're calling them, oh no, I work today. Okay, great. What time do you get off normally on a Monday? Oh, I get off at 4 o'clock. Okay, great. I can come by at 5:15 or 6:40 or 5:45, which would work better for you. Keep giving them those two times. I'll go into why. The consultation is only going to take 30 to 45 minutes. Do you have time after work? Something like that. But don't just take the first objection as a no. Don't call me again. Don't give up. Some agents may just give up right away, and after one call, oh, they don't want to talk to me. Oh, we hear this a lot. Oh, I was just playing around on the internet, or I didn't mean to. You acknowledge it, ignore it, and move on. No problem. Obviously, something got you interested. What got you interested? Go right back onto that road to the sale that you're trying to be on. So it sounds simple, but some agents will give up right away, and don't be that person. Those are the ones that you're gonna regret later in that day, and you might burn a bridge, which we'll get to. Typical sales phrases, don't use "I don't want to waste your time," because you're just literally telling them this is probably a waste of your time. If you think that it may be a waste of their time, and you're saying I don't want to waste your time, that's just phrases that you should avoid. To be honest with you, infers that you weren't being honest with them before. Trust me, or when you're calling somebody back, oh, I haven't heard from you. I mean, you don't want to be like, hey, you didn't call me back. What the heck? That's not what you're trying to say. You want to be happy that you're talking to them. Make them feel that they're welcome to speak with you. Or I wanted to touch base. When you are calling them, you're not calling them because they're your best friend. You're calling them to set an appointment. So, when you're saying I wanted to touch base, you're kind of coming off as it's not very important. Use the prospect's name, but don't overuse it. Don't. Hey, Mark, thanks for talking to me, Mark. Mark, I wanted to tell you about something, Mark. Don't do that. That's just annoying. People know this. It's just not a good idea. Use their name a couple times, but you don't have to overuse it. Again, going back to the scripts, be natural. It also doesn't hurt to not be extremely proper. You want to come off as professional, but as well as attainable. Like you're on that same, you're in that same level, you're in that same realm. I mean, insurance agents may come across as above the rest to certain people, and you don't want to do that. Especially depending on the clientele that you're dealing with, or that can end up getting into where you use words that make them think that, oh, this person thinks I know what they're talking about, but I don't, and they may not say something because they're very friendly. So make sure that you're just being on their level, but still at the same time being very professional, and maybe explaining words to them that they may not know, like premium. Use the word, but then explain it to them how it works, and then continue on. And being prepared helps you flow better. So the East-West. Why you do this is because you don't want to say something like 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, 5:30. Those whole numbers tend to be forgotten. You use a 4:45 or a 5:15. They tend to be a little bit easier to remember. And then also when you're talking to them, do you have a pen and paper? I'll wait if you don't, because they'll just write it in the air like we all do. So I'll wait if you don't. Okay, take my number down. Here's my name. Here's my number. Appointment Wednesday at 4:45, and write that down. The decision consultants, so that's spouse, family, friends. It's a good idea to ask if there's anybody else in the decision-making process. Not necessarily, are you the main decision maker, or are you the only decision maker? Assume that they are the decision maker, but always ask if there's somebody else that they'll be consulting at the same time. Make sure that you set an appointment when you know that person will be available. Kind of try to close in on that time that oh, well, she's at work right now, but she'll be back later. Well, what time's later? Does she have anything planned later today that will prevent her from talking with me when I'm there? Are there going to be kids around that may interrupt? Things like that. And it really shows that you care, that the prospect is going to have somebody there that they're going to be comfortable with, that they may be able to make a decision right at that time. And most importantly is that you're kind of having a trial close because you're going to be expecting them to make that decision. So use that, your wording is going to be careful here, because you don't want them to, you don't want to be like, well, I'm only coming if they're there because I want you to buy tonight. You don't want to come across as that, but you definitely need to make sure that you're at least finding out. The classic saying, two ears and one mouth. So the most important thing that I think we all learn in sales is to just listen to what they have to say. They're going to tell you how to sell them. That's usually right then and there at the appointment time, but make sure that you're listening to what they say, ask open-ended questions, engage them, understand their desire is going to help you close it a lot easier. Don't interrupt, repeat their responses when necessary, not every single time, because that, again, using their name too much and doing that is annoying. And take notes when you're speaking with people. I myself, when I'm speaking with people, I take notes while I'm speaking with them. Some people can't multitask like that. If you're not good at that, you record your conversation. If you're in a state where you can use a Google Voice number, and you can actually record that. Some states you have to let them know, so you may want to say, hey, I'm just going to record this for our notes. But take notes when you can. I've often found that I go back to my notes and I forgot what I told somebody, or I forgot what the person told me, and I could go back to my notes and know that my notes were accurate because I was writing them while I was speaking with them, so they were fresh in my mind and they went straight to the paper. And I can multitask like that. Again, some can't, but when I go look at that note, I know that whatever I wrote on that note was exactly what they said and exactly what I said. And there's another method that we'll go over here, which is recording yourself, but a part of role playing. Role play, record yourself. So you can get one of those digital recorders, an old phone that has a recording feature, whatever you can find. But practice it, record yourself, and ask yourself, would you buy from you? You don't want to be boring on the phone. You don't want to talk too fast, talk too slow. You don't want to mumble your words. So just listen to that, and that helps you kind of get on to the next step here. All of these steps, all of these tips, just help you not burn a bridge. So burning a bridge can mean that you answered all their questions and then say, you know what, no, I don't think I need insurance, and they hang up on you, or there's friction on the phone call, so be aware of friction. Don't get caught up in answering a bunch of questions, but at the same time, don't talk in circles. Don't keep saying, well, I'll get to, I'll go over that when I'm there. I'll go over that when I'm there. You're going to probably want to answer a couple questions, but, realistically, it needs to go back to all of your questions will be answered. Or I even like to tell people, hey, write your questions down. You're going to have some questions for me between now and the time we meet tomorrow. Write those questions down. And that way I can make sure that I go over every single one of those questions. If you have one of those decision consultants that can't be available, write their questions down, and I'll go over them and I'll answer them for you. Maybe we can even call them on the phone together and go over those. So definitely make sure that you can not talk in circles, but still answer the questions when necessary. If you can't set the appointment, be sure to schedule a follow-up phone call. You're going to burn a bridge if you never return another call, you don't follow up with them, or especially if you overpromise and underdeliver. So if you say, I'll send you some information, which we'll get to, and you never send it to them, or it comes 6 hours later, that's just, you're burning a bridge there. And also, when it comes to real-time leads, if you don't answer your lead within the first couple of minutes, it's almost like if you've never even talked to them for like a week, and that's not good. I mean, if you don't talk to them for a week, they probably move on. So first couple of minutes, make sure that you're able to answer those real-time leads if you do purchase those. And don't leave yourself with anything at all. I mean, at least a phone call appointment that they may be expecting you. Well, no, I can't talk right now, but tonight at 5 o'clock, I'll be home. Okay, no problem. I'm going to set an appointment for us to talk at 5 o'clock this evening. Write that down. Here's my name. Here's my number. In case you can't keep that appointment, give me a call. And I'll do the same with you. Just use those words. It's very professional, but at the same time, it's going to let them know that, okay, I do need to keep this appointment. Sometimes people will keep an appointment just because they said they will keep an appointment. Smile and dial. A lot of people have heard this, but how much thought do we actually put into this? So smiling while speaking with your prospects and your clients in person to get a mirror, put it at your desk. Look at it every once in a while. Keep a smile on. Don't sound like you're in the middle of something. Give them your undivided attention. Don't sound like you just woke up or unprepared for the phone call. If you need to make arrangements, you may increase your business. If you're working from home and you've got kids at home, you may need to make some arrangements to set that aside. There was an example of an agent who was getting one-on-one coaching from a trainer, and he said, he's working from home. He said, I'm just not doing as well as I thought. And he's talking to me. Here's kids in the background. Oh, there was the issue. A couple days later, they, made the arrangements, and for the rest of that year, the income increased, and then the next year increased, so on and so forth. So that one little change may not be able to do it, but a good idea to take a look at what's going on in your life as well. Now, confirming your appointment, of course. The whole reason why I decided to do this 21 tips, well, I could come up with 21, probably could come up with some more, but it's a good number too. There was an agent on Friday that set an appointment for Monday. The client couldn't make it. I asked, hey, did you confirm it? No, I didn't call to confirm. Okay, so confirm your appointment. Try to avoid setting the appointment for too far out, like a week. No one's going to remember that. And other things come up that are more important. Even if they did submit a lead or, say, yeah, I want to hear some more information. If something else comes up, it's going to come up. They may forget about it, a doctor's appointment or something. My mom does that all the time. So if you set an appointment on a Friday for Monday, for example, make sure that it's okay to call them on Sunday afternoon or Monday morning and confirm that. Send an email, if they have one, right after speaking with them, and put in the date and time. Send one the day before the appointment or the day of, that morning. Call them, hey, did you get my email? Just wanted to confirm with you. If you're, I'm going to go into some other things of some software and stuff that you can use, but make sure that you're at least confirming your appointment or attempting to. So asking for referrals and how this ties into appointments is, if you've connected with your client, number one, don't be afraid to ask for a referral while you're still with them. They may go ahead and say, you know what, yeah, I liked what this guy had to say. I my sister, brother, nephew, niece, uncle, cousin, brother, male person, whatever, could use this information or could talk with you. They may know somebody that they'd call them right then on the spot, text them. They may even say, hey, here's their number, call them. I know that they'll be okay with that. They could be your newest and best advocate for you, and even set appointments for you. They might have somebody call you and say, hey, I need to meet with you. This person said I need to meet with you, and I've got time tonight. So utilize those for appointments. And a part of being prepared, anticipate objections. Anticipate that you're going to get an objection. Eventually, you probably will, but being prepared will help you focus on your script, keep on topic, the road to the sale. And a good way is to just come up with as many objections as you possibly can, and practice them. Write down the answers to those. Write down the objection handlers. Practice those with someone while you are practicing your script, and go over those. Interview family. Hey, if you were looking for insurance and I tried to set an appointment with you, and if it, obviously if you didn't know me, would you want to right away? What kind of questions might you have? Have some of that information in your brain while you're making calls. At least kind of refresh yourself with those things. And again, about being prepared. Just kind of a dumb anecdote on here. But if you ever go to Subway and your favorite bread isn't ready, it's kind of annoying. So same thing, like, when you got that in your mind, you're like, oh, I'm going to go to Subway and get this urban cheese bread, and I'm going to get this sub, and then you get there and they don't have any. So you're just like disappointed. And same thing when you're talking with someone on the phone. If somebody calls me and I've inquired about something, I don't do that often, but if I did, I'm ready to talk to them. I'm okay, yeah, great, this person called me. Or if I have a question, especially like tech support, for example, if you put all your information in, because there's no phone call, for example, or no phone number that you can call for tech support or a question on an account or something. This happens to me, and they call you. You're like, finally, yes, they called me, I'm ready to handle this problem. And what if they weren't even ready for your question? What if they didn't even have any clue what you were talking about? And you had to reiterate everything, tell them everything again. It's annoying. So be prepared for it, for your appointment or your phone call. Be prepared for both of those things. Asking this question could be good, could be bad. You got to be able to bounce back from it. right away if it is in the negative. But hey, do you have a minute to speak? I usually I will go into the pitch. Hey, I'm calling because, and then do you have a minute to talk? Yes or no. But rushing into the sales pitch without asking the person if they have enough time to talk, probably don't want to do that. It might put them off. Or if you hear, like, for example, a lot of noise in the background, if you hear them talking to someone else, you might say, hey, is it a good time to talk? It's just a courteous thing. And if possible, if they don't have time to talk, arrange the time to talk. Again, it goes back to that, set that appointment. It could be a more successful conversation. I mean, if you've got a lot of distractions in the background, or if the one spouse was looking and the other spouse decides you don't need that, hang up the phone. That's happened. So make sure that you're able to ask that question when appropriate, and don't panic if they don't have that time to talk. Just be courteous and try to establish that next time. Back to follow up. So once you've set the appointment, send a meeting request if you can. Outlook has that. Maybe some other email servers have that. But send that. Send some sort of a confirmation. Sometimes they have where they have to confirm the appointment on there, and they say yes or no. Make time to call. Actually, make time yourself to call. Make sure that you're able to. That you're confirming, days in advance. Again, send emails. If it's really far out, like a week or so, send a postcard or hand deliver one. If it's on your way home from something, or on your way home to the grocery store, or from the grocery store, or if it's even 20 minutes away, you may want to hand deliver that postcard and say, hey, just wanted to give this to you for a reminder for our appointment. If for any reason it's that far out, they may even say, what, I got time right now, go ahead and come in. Or if you're visiting other clients, and they're in the area, and it's far out, do that. And I have an example postcard that I shared before that you can utilize. I literally just made it on Word, Microsoft Word, and you can get some card stock if you have a printer, or go to your local office supply store and get that printed out. Send a stamp. It's only a couple cents. It'll definitely be more worth it. So, giving the prospect information enough to do some research. So, this is kind of also another thing that you want to use with caution. You don't want to give somebody all the information and then they decide that, oh, you know what, I don't want this, I don't need this. They either basically self-evaluate, okay, well, this doesn't look that great, or they may think, oh, wow, this looks fantastic, I probably can't afford this. Or, hey, I asked a brother-in-law and his insurance is $125 a month and I can only spend $50, so I just can't afford this, or whatever the case is. So make sure that you're sending them information, but you got to be careful with what you're sending them, and maybe a brochure or something simple if you really absolutely have to. But also a good idea just to build your credibility is when you are emailing them that confirmation, if you can. Provide your state license number. Some folks prefer that, or some folks or they kind of like that extra touch. You'll set yourself aside and apart from other people that they may be talking to. Who knows? Depending on if your leads are exclusive or not. So at least take a look at that as an option. It may be awkward, but the more you do it, the more it'll work for you, and you can always refer back to it. Yeah, I'm the agent that gave you my license number. Probably nobody else did. So go back to follow up to calling multiple times. That's multiple times a day also. So again, this is about setting appointments. Don't just call once and then expect, oh, they didn't answer, they're probably not going to answer you. So if you call them once today, once tomorrow, both at 2:00, and they don't answer, what's the likelihood of them answering you the next time? Call at 2, and then the next day you call at 2, and then call a couple hours later. Make sure you leave a voicemail, and say, hey, in the voicemail, I'll call you around 5:30 today. They may be expecting it. Oh, this is the insurance guy. Let me answer this phone. Hey, sorry, I was at work. Spread your calls out through the day. When you have real-time leads, call at least twice the first day, at least, maybe even 3 times. Maybe leave one voicemail, send an email, maybe a text, and also you may not get the appointment on the first try, but don't give up. That's, again, call multiple times. Have a reason why you're calling. Hey, just wanted to let you know that this company just lowered some premiums or something. I mean, something you got to, come up with something that's creative, that's of benefit. And then again, schedule your follow-up using some software or a calendar or something, Google Calendar. And if you have an Android phone, it'll update. You can do it on your computer, and it'll update to your phone. It'll send you reminders. And accurate leads, the accuracy of leads. This is the last thing. Cold calling age leads. You're cold calling some of the old leads. We went over this a couple weeks ago. Definitely a way to keep busy. If you have a dialer, you can sit down for a couple hours a day, maybe get a deal. But choosing leads that are going to work for you and your area, so it's really working smarter, not harder, is going to increase your opportunity to get those appointments, especially the appointments that you would actually want. So if you live in an area that requires a higher income level, some of these final expense companies, they put like $30,000 or less in income for your area. That may not be enough. That may be extremely below poverty, where they're not even working, and there's 2 or 3 people in a household that don't work, and they use public transportation, they can't afford anything. That's a real thing. So if you can, find a lead company or lead vendor that will be able to provide you those different variations of the income. Or when you're ordering the leads, ask them if they do have different variations in those incomes, what income level they use. Ask those kinds of questions. And also think about the people that you're trying to reach. If you're going to be buying leads for term or for mortgage protection, those folks are probably working during the day. So you want to call at a different time, closer to the evening, but before, 8 o'clock. Maybe if you have multiple licenses, call, and you're in Texas, you can call the East Coast to the West Coast. You're perfectly fine. Be smarter about when you are calling these leads. But yeah, so that's actually it right there. Sorry, got out of that too early. If you have any questions, need any information, want to get contracted with anything, be sure to give us a call, send us an email. We're here for you. I hope you have a great weekend, and we'll hope to hear from you. Thank you.